Okay, so tomorrow, what you need to study. Tomorrow, you want to look at your learning target 4 or chapter 4 tests, those learning targets. Again, remember that you need to record someplace what your scores were for those learning targets because you're only going to need to do the ones that you don't have 10 out of 10. If you already have 10 out of 10, you can skip those ones. Okay? The chapter 5 learning targets are all going to be new though. So study anything from chapter 4 learning targets that we went over yesterday, that test. What did you do wrong before? How are you going to improve that grade tomorrow? Also want to look at your chapter 5 quiz. And of course your chapter 5 learning target sheet. Um, so on the talking about the chapter 5 quiz, the first thing is that diagram of the skin. And I had some things X'd out last time that I think we could know now. Like if you're looking at your learning target sheet, sebaceous gland was X'd out. But sebaceous gland, it's those big like bulbs that are on the side of the hair follicle. They're oil glands. So they secrete oil to the hair to help lubricate it as it moves through the skin. All right, so sebaceous gland would be G on that diagram. We already did erector pili muscle. We already did hair shaft. Subcutaneous layer, that's pretty easy. Subcutaneous means under or below cutaneous, beneath the skin. It's that bottom layer, S. All right. Blood vessels, we already did. That was L and M. Fat, that's what those little blobs at the bottom of the diagram labeled N are. Those little blobs of fat, adipose tissue. We did epidermis, the top layer. We did nerve fibers, which really could be I, F, or O, any of those. We did dermis, which is the layer underneath the epidermis. That was T. Sweat gland, though, we haven't done yet. Sweat gland is letter P. It's kind of a coiled gland. You see a duct running up to the pore. That's how the sweat gets out. And number 13 is kind of new, too. That's hair follicle. There's a cutaway of the hair follicle is Q, but it's the large structure around the base of the hair follicle. Okay. So in 5.7 it talks about glands. Okay, so this is one of the new ones that we did. So sebaceous gland I just talked about, sebaceous oil gland. We can also have sweat glands, and depending on the region of the body, we can have different types of sweat glands. Over most of our body, we have what are called merocrine or eccrine sweat glands, which are 99% water. There's other stuff in them. People who have sweat a lot, you can definitely notice a smell. But there's other ones, apocrine, which are more nutritious for bacteria, and they're in certain regions like the armpit, the genital region. And so those are the areas that really stink because of this apocrine sweat gland there. We can also have ceruminous. You might not even came across this, but ceruminous glands, which are found in the ear canal, and they make earwax. And mammary glands in the breasts, which make milk. Okay, so there's some different glands. On the nail part, so if you look at your nail diagram, these are the ones you need to know. And I'm going to make a new page. So for the nail diagram, here's the ones you need to know along with their answers. So circle these. You should know number 87 is free edge. That's the free edge of the nail. You should know 91, the pale crescent area at the base is called the lunula. 92 is called the eponychium, or what we're going to refer to as just cuticle. All right. 93 is the nail root, and that's where growth occurs, and kind of similar to the other structures. new cells made, pushed out. Okay, these are highly keratinized, makes them strong, makes them durable, which nails are there for protection. You need to know 94 is another view. It's a side view, but of a structure that we already had, cuticle. And just a heads up, so this is going to be matching. Cuticle is going to be used twice, but I'm not going to tell you that one of them is used twice. You're just going to have to know that. All right. Okay. Also, there is 96, which is the nail body. And then 97 is called the hyponychium. Underneath the nail. And then 98, the bone there, which they refer to as the phalanx. All right. No, not that. Something else. All right. And then, so briefly talk about the burns. Okay, so if we have dermis, I messed up. Epidermis is actually the top layer. Dermis, hypodermis. So the burns go in order of severity. So it's just going to be first degree, second degree, third. All right? A skin graft, right? A third degree burn, painful, but all those neurons are in the dermis. So if you get the dermis is affected, it's going to be painful, but only until the nerves are gone. After that, you're not going to be feeling the pain. We can regenerate if it's only down to the dermis, but if we go all the way down to the hypodermis, we're going to probably need skin removed from one area of the body and placed over it, which is called a skin graft. If it just affects the top layer, this would be like sunburn, would be epidermis, first degree burn, just inflamed, tender. Second degree would be the most painful because we affect those pain receptors and they're still there. All right. And so that is basically all of it. A couple questions maybe about healing. It's all going to be as much matching and multiple choice as we can.